Performance. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 448 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast, our very last Picks and Ponies show of 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. We are here to talk about a fantastic card this Saturday, the first Saturday card, of course, of 2026 at OAKLAWN Park, as they start their road to the Kentucky Derby, and it's featuring the Smarty Jones Stakes with points to the Derby. They also have another stake and three really nice allowance races that we'll be talking about, which covers the late pick five. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, notification on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. That will send like-minded horse players to the HHH Racing Podcast. Please listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And of course, you can follow us on X at HHH Racing Podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I had a great time at Gulfstream Park. I got out of the airport here at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and the wind chill was 10. That's right, 10 degrees. And it was about 80 in Gulfstream. That's only about a 70-degree feel change in temperature. Yeah, not real pleasant. Wasn't excited getting onto that plane, but I had a great time at Gulfstream. I want to give a shout out to everyone who watched the content that I sent out on X. Had a lot of great responses, email, whatnot, and thanks and shout out to Gulfstream Park for treating me and Matt Miller fantastically. We had an awesome time, and we found a few winners as well for not only ourselves, but you, the audience out there. But for tonight, we're here to talk about OAKLAWN. Now, our good friend Paul Haller, one of our co-hosts, is not here tonight, but we have someone subbing in for him. That's going to be tremendous. And the birthday boy is back. Just celebrated a birthday yesterday. Let's bring him on first from the East Coast of Maryland. He was an old man before. He's even older now. Mr. Pete Visco, and our special guest tonight. He's been with us before. Does a great job with content on In the Money Media on many avenues. Fantastic guy. Great contest player as well. We welcome back Chris Couples. Gentlemen, our last show of 2025. Pete, let's start with you. Happy birthday, my friend. Hope you had a great day yesterday with the family. I saw that it included a movie with Jackson.
Always.
No surprise there. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. You know, I'm not in the grave yet, so it's still you can see a little gray in the beard though. So I'm getting up there a bit, but I'm feeling pretty good though. Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
Hey, Pete. I'm not sure. Maybe the first time I've been on the show.
I was going to say that. I don't think we've shared the screen together before.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so it's
fireworks.
This is the way you end 2025, I think.
Yeah,
fireworks for sure.
With Paul being out, I didn't prepare a rant.
That's okay.
Sometimes
no
we
rant.
just naturally find it's horse racing, so we just naturally find things to complain about as the show goes along. So
we got a very strong-willed, opinionated guy from Kentucky, Pete, and we got a New Jersey / Maryland Italian guy. I expect some fireworks over there, gentlemen. Let's get after with these picks for OAKLAWN. Also, want to mention that we will have a Weekend Warriors show this Saturday. I just figured out the time, actually. It's actually a contest through Twin Spires that combines, guys, New York and OAKLAWN, and there'll be NHC seats and KDBC seats on the line. I think it is going to be, actually just typed it out. Let me see if I can find it. It'll be on our YouTube channel, but it looks like it's going to be from 4 to 5:30 Eastern, looks like. And it's going to end in the Smarty Jones, guys. The contest ends in the Smarty Jones. Of course, you guys, we know we have one more race to cover for the late pick five. Guys, let's jump into it. We'll get to some other particulars later. I got some news about Paladin, my new Kentucky Derby boy, who I was able to see actually at Payson Training Center this past Friday. So we'll talk about a few things as we go along. Smarty Jones, guys, let's talk about this first, Pete. OAKLAWN, similar to Gulfstream and Fairgrounds and Santa Anita, they've got a great road to their Kentucky Derby. They have several races that lead into the Derby, which of course ends the Arkansas Derby. They had a very interesting trail last year. We had Sandman was sort of the buzz horse coming out of OAKLAWN. It was cold battle early on, but they really do a nice job with their 3-year-old group of races leading to the Derby.
Yeah, I like their path. I tend to, not always for the best. I tend to like a horse that winds up coming out of the OAKLAWN path. So I always kind of favor them, and I think they do a great job. And I mean, it's nice to start us off here and just start seeing. I mean, like anything, we just want to see the horses run a little bit, and you just start getting the Derby fever a little early. I mean, it starts before the year ends, and will continue for the next 5 months or so.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to start it off.
And Chris, maybe more than any other track that I just mentioned, I guess you can include Santa Anita, because that stretch is so short. It usually favors at least mid-pack speed or early speed, which is why I think part of the reason why a lot of people liked Sandman, of course, didn't work out for him in the Derby, but people sort of fall in love with closers coming out of OAKLAWN because it's just sort of hard to close there. Compared to Churchill, that stretch has got to be, I don't know for a fact, maybe like almost twice as long or, significantly longer than OAKLAWN stretch.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been guilty of that myself. I mean, one of my favorite Derby horses all the time didn't win was Looking at Lee, where I made a big score. He was a big closer at OAKLAWN and drew the rail in the Derby, helped his price. And so I've been guilty of the same thing. But now with the point system, things are a little different.
Good point. Pun intended. All right, guys, let's get into the late pick 5 at OAKLAWN this Saturday. Now, great job by OAKLAWN. We've got, not only do we have post position or we have post numbers, we also have sailcloth numbers and we have odds. So shout out to OAKLAWN. We realize a lot of you watching, listening at home, we're filming this Monday because of the holidays, that you might not have even looked at this card yet. So we'll help you along, and please feel free to make any comments that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on the field to start the late pick 5 at OAKLAWN. Here we go, guys. Starts in race 7, 3:55 Eastern, 2:55 local. One of these very difficult, allowance optional, claiming for 20. These are Archie breds. Field of 12 with 2 AEs. The number 11 Rock Solo is a gelding. The favorite, and I think it'll be a pretty heavy one, guys, is Nikolai. This is for Vance and Delacruz, 9-5 morning line. Let's see where we're going to go to open up the late pick 5 right now. I'm going 5, 11, 12. Pete's going 11, 5, 4. And Chris is going 5, 12, 11. Chris and I very similar. Pete, not too dissimilar. We'll start with you, Pete. You're going to go with Rock Solo for Ron Moquette and Saya's 5-1 to kick off the late pick 5.
Yeah, this was the race I had the toughest time with. I didn't love anyone. I thought it was pretty even, and I guess now seeing the odds, I guess the 5 is taking a decent amount of money, but otherwise it's pretty spread out. This is one I always like, and it can be kind of silly. You see here we got first time gelding. Sometimes that'll move a horse forward a bit, and it's not like this horse needs a ton to move forward. Has been pretty consistent. Doesn't always get the win, but always seems to basically runs his race every time. He's cutting back now, so he's been routing in his last few. Now we're cutting all the way back down to 6. So I kind of like the cut back here. He was good in his last, he was solid. Last time he ran 6 furlongs. It was in a stakes race. It was state bred stakes. He ran a solid third. Nothing groundbreaking, but I like that Saez now gets aboard because this horse is pretty tactical. Looks like can be relatively close. Doesn't need to be on the lead, but can sit just off. Has passed horses. We see 3 back as passed horses for a win. So you always like to see that as well. So I think this one in a field that I think is pretty even. This one between the gelding, the works have been strong, especially that last one at OAKLAWN, 2 out of 138, 47 and 2. I just think there could be some improvement here. And again, likes the track, has 2 wins here. So, this is one that the post might be a little tough, but other than that, I think we might be trending up with this one and getting a decent price because of it.
I like this horse too, Pete. And Chris has one in third. I like the fact that he's been working really well and he's been working locally. My concern, he's going to be too far back. But I think Saez with his aggression will get him into the game.
That's what I like that too, because that's what I think he's generally going to be aggressive. So at least he'll try. It might not work, but he'll try and at least get him forwardly placed.
Chris, I'll go on a very mini rant. I'm so sick and tired of the gelding situation not being reported correctly. There's no way this horse was gelded yesterday. That's what it says up here. I would be shocked if that's the case, and then they're going to run 6 days later. So I don't know. I mean, the reported gelding issue. I know a lot of people out there thinking, Howard, who cares? I care a little bit, Chris. Usually it takes, you know this more than Pete and I, because you've been around horses more than we have. Well, I understand it takes 2 to 3 weeks to really sort of for the geld to set in and really mean a difference at all. So I just wish they would report it correctly, Chris.
Yeah, I think they ought to be fined. If you got a registered thoroughbred and you don't report that it's gelded on the right day, I think they ought to fine them.
I have no problem with that. So,
Yeah.
You know, Pete, maybe they need to see a visual to, to confirm that actually happened. Anyway,
Put that right in the
Mail in the
program, put a little
evidence.
QR code in the program, and we could scan it and we could
there you go.
check out a nice pick or something. There we go.
Oh,
Just to
a
make
lot of
sure.
interesting barn traditions with the gelding. We're not going to get into it right now, but anyway, Pete, I agree with everything you said. Now, Chris, you and I are going to go with the number 5. We're chalking out here, and I want to say something about Chris Couples. Not only is he a great guy, first and foremost, and has a terrific wife and just does a great job, but Chris does not, in general, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, Chris, but you're sort of like me. You try to fade favorites when the time is right. We try to look for value. So when Chris likes a favorite, ladies and gentlemen, I won't speak for myself, but when Chris likes a favorite, you need to pay attention, because I'm very happy to take a favorite in any situation. But I just want to mention that Chris is sort of more inclined, like me, to try to beat favorites in general, not all the time. We're both going Nikolai. If he runs his last race, Chris, I don't see how he loses realistically. He should be forward in a stalking position. And I just love the fact that the last 3, he's been an open company, and this is definitely a drop down in class just for that reason alone.
Absolutely. And when they added the blinkers last time, he took a big step forward, and I think he would have won that race. He was kind of on the inside, fighting for inside position. It didn't work out coming into the turn, so he had to check back, lost a couple of lengths there. Then they left the rail open for him, and he come in the inside and just got slightly out finished there. I definitely think he would have won that race, which it was a bunch of large prices that day. So I think he's the horse to beat. And I didn't see morning lines until right now. So
yeah, and I've got him about 8 to 10 points better on the time form figs out of that race. And for those who are not familiar with time form, it's about 1.5 points at this level. I mean, that puts him 3 or 4 lengths better in this field. Chris, my only concern, he's coming back relatively quick, but he does have a maintenance work in between. I probably shouldn't worry about that, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't concern me. I know it's a conversation that can go on a rabbit hole. Some I like rest. The sprinters, I don't necessarily. Sprinters don't bother me as much on the short rest.
Okay, fair enough. We all think it's, generally speaking, a 3-horse race. I could have easily had Zippy Mark in second, Chris. I decided to put him in third. You do have him second. He's very likable. Esquivel is solid, although struggling a little bit. But this is a very tough meet. This is like, the Saratoga of the winter in terms of the size of the fields. So you see 4 for 51. Esquivel is solid, and this horse also should be somewhat forward, you think, off the layoff here for McPeak.
Yeah, and you don't see many Arkansas breds, run at Saratoga, much less win there. And I have the figure from Saratoga slightly higher than the horse me and you have on top, but I think our horse is going to be inside, and it's just a hair bit quicker.
Yeah.
So unless they get in a pace duel, I just think the inside is going to be a pretty big advantage here.
Yeah, I think we all think in general it's 5, 11, 12. Pete threw the 4 in there. Sorry for my scrolling there. $2 Eddie. Pete, I wanted to put him in my top 3 because on paper he might be the speed of the speed, but I don't know, he just doesn't seem overly talented to me. Even if he gets loose, it just feels like someone's going to run him down. And if the 5 breaks and is breathing down the 4's neck, even maybe a length off, I just don't see how the 4 wins this race at all, or even. He could fade badly. I guess his only chance if he gets loose and the 5 doesn't break, but we've seen weirder things before.
Yeah, that was my only thought. I didn't even think of him as really a win contender. He just is someone
Yeah.
who has a tendency to hold sometimes. And the only thing is, for you guys like the 5, and we all like the 5, and we have the 11. You know, you guys have the 11 in the mix. They all are pretty forward. This horse could just throw a kink in their race a little bit, where if he goes, they go a little bit, and it just heats up a little more than they want to. That was my one concern with maybe the 11 and even the 5 a bit at 9-5 is, maybe they do a little bit and they get a little out there further than they would ideally like, chasing a horse that might fade but might take them with them. That was my one concern.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my grid, guys. I'm going to go pretty light in that first leg in the race we just talked about. It just feels like there's other races you want to take stabs at. Chris, I'm going to let you answer this question. We got a lot of great people in the chat. I'm assuming this gentleman is serious. Johnny Handyman, not familiar with Smarty Jones. You want to mention why the stake that we're going to talk about later is called the Smarty Jones Stakes?
Well, if in my memory, my opinion, but I think he won the Smarty Jones and he won the Rebel. Did he won the Derby, right?
He won the Arkansas Derby. He lost the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
But he won the Rebel and he won the Arkansas Derby.
Gotcha. So yeah, I don't remember. And then he
Sorry, I tossed your question that you were.
Bad part, I think there's a picture over here on my wall that I don't remember, so that's bad. But now, in my defense, I haven't seen my wallet in weeks. I don't remember where I put it either, so I don't remember things.
All right.
But
we
no,
understand
he won the Derby and the Preakness, and then lost.
I'm sorry. You're right. My bad.
He lost to Birdstone in excruciating fashion, which I actually enjoyed because I had Birdstone.
Yeah,
that day.
And he was just. He was PA bred, actually Pennsylvania bred. And
he was pretty popular back then. I mean, he was just one of those that sort of transcended, into mainstream a little bit.
He sort of came off the beaten path just from smaller connections in Pennsylvania. Coincidentally, you talked about Birdstone, Pete. I don't know if you saw our group text. I know you were busy over the weekend, but just so happened, and Chris, you probably don't know this. It just so happened when Matt Miller and I went out to dinner Saturday night after a nice day at Gulfstream. Guess who was sitting at the table right next to us? Nick Zito. We had a great conversation. Really nice guy. Unbelievable conversation. What an honor to talk to Nick Zito, trainer of Birdstone, for those people who don't know the connection there. Okay, anyway, we also have Johnny mentions Zenyatta. I'm not really sure why. Bob Segura, what's up, Bob? Happy New Year to you, sir. Have a great 2026. Completely agree with all of that. Brooks Lewis is here. What's up, Brooks? Or it could be Lewis Brooks. I'm not sure, but Happy New Year. Thanks for joining the show. That might be a new person, guys, that in the chat there. Really appreciate that. Happy New Year. Thank you, Sylvain from Montreal. Appreciate that. Let's see. We got corrections on my F up there with Smarty Jones. And okay, let's move on, guys, to the next race. There's our picks for the next race, and here is the next race. Race 8, another allowance, $115,000 mile and a 16th, 4-year-olds and up. Typical, very expensive allowance race with a great purse, guys. Field of 12, the 13 and 14 AEs, the number 13, one of my favorite names because it's a Yiddish name, Oi Gewalt, which means like, oh my goodness, for those people that don't even know what the heck that is. And has, I believe the ownership there are Jewish, so that's named a horse with sort of kind of a Jewish name. Anyway, morning line favorite here, guys, is Render Judgment. How about this horse, guys? Coming from the Derby. You don't see a lot of horses coming out of the Kentucky Derby that have not run since then and are running in 2026 at the beginning of the year. But we are all fading that horse. How about that, guys? I'm going 639. Pete's going 638. And Chris is saying, screw that. I'm not even throwing the horse in my top 3. He's going 628. I guess the stories we're all going with Super Cruise. Chris, I'll let you talk about this one first because I know you have a very, very, very strong opinion based on reasons we'll talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah, and you was talking about I don't bet favorites. This one broke my heart on debut at 17-1, and kind of broke, no hurry, circled the field, took over, made a big early move, and then Brad Cox horse came at him, and he was on the rail, lugging in. He actually bounced off the rail that day twice, and was fighting back. It was one of them situations where it was just a big letdown. But luckily, I do bet the place. I won't bet the show bet, but I'll bet the place bet in a heartbeat. Then he came back next time and won at a short price. Wasn't really bettable that day. Lugged in, and then came off the layoff last time. I expect this horse to move forward off of that. He didn't show the lugging issue. Gets a little more stamina here. I think he's the horse to beat. And with, like you said, with Render Judgment in there, a horse like that is a takeout reducer to me. If I get beat by that one, I'm fine with it. But I hope that one makes my price on the 6 solid.
Wow. Okay. So we'll get to Render Judgment in a second. It's worth showing a little bit of into the first turn here, because I thought Super Cruise had legitimate trouble. Chris, he's the 5 in this race. And I'll show the very end where the 13 Dance Samo is also in this race on Saturday, as is the 1 and the 11, as is, by the way, a horse the very bottom. Horse the very bottom that actually finished last, the number 7. So the 1, 5, 7, 11, 12, 13. We're not going to watch the whole race. Let's talk about the 5 first. Chris, explain to everyone what you see here, as he broke a little bit slow. And I thought he had some trouble on the first turn. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, he breaks a link slow and then just kind of gets in behind horses and checks back a little bit. I don't have a note on the early trouble, but again, I don't remember things while I have to look at my formulator so much. But he gets between horses right here and bumped around 2 or 3 times. I remember that now that I watch it.
What you can't see, Chris, the timing is awful. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but right as they make the turn, it's hard to, if you watch the jock carefully, he had to steady back. You don't really see it. You see right there, he's starting to sort of steady back.
Yeah, I wish the cameramen at a lot of tracks would learn to zoom out a little bit. I'd probably be able to see what you're talking about. But they get focused on them 1-2 runners. And
you only care about the first couple, Chris. Come on, you don't need the rest of the. Nobody cares about the rest.
I don't care about those two. Is the problem.
And then he's into the stretch here. He still runs a big race after all that. And on the wrong, he switches leads, but he's like, he's just a little bit goofy. It's like a little rusty, it feels like to me.
And that's his weak spot that I'm hoping he overcomes. Right here, he runs straight and don't lug in. Last year in both races, his lugging in problem and lead swapping cost him the debut race. And you can see right there, he gets a little tired. So I'm hoping this puts a little fitness in him. And what I didn't mention is why I bet that horse on debut. There was a lot of hype around him. But the Brad Cox horse in there took so much money. He's one of the few times that a horse that's training well for a small barn used to that slipped through the cracks. They don't hardly do that no more.
Yeah. No, I like this horse a lot. If he breaks, I'd like to see it work since, but he's still a work in progress. It costs $575, Chris, at Keeneland, September or November 22. So anyway, I agree with you. We all we're not going to go on.
The problem is he's not a good breaker. He's shown that a little bit in every race, and that's the only scary thing. Is he gets himself in a little bit he leaves himself a lot to do, but hopefully he's a little sharper. Like this, what was that? Since April. So what's that? Like a 8-month layoff, basically. Yeah. So like Chris mentioned, he got a little tired late. Hopefully he's a little fitter now, so that doesn't happen. But they do need to fix maybe the braking problem, because there's not a ton of pace in this race. No, so I don't know it's going to heat up front, really.
Render Judgment, Pete. We have second look. I mean, I don't forget the 2-1. This horse is going to be 7-5. I have a hard time believing he's going to be 2-1. We'll see. If he's like 5-2 or 3-1, Pete, to me, he's awfully cold on the board. If he's not his morning line or lower, he's obviously got back class. He had no business really being in the Derby. He never should have been in the Derby, with all due respect to the connections. And I love Kenny McPeak. A long string of very good works. Not bullets, but he's not. You wouldn't expect bullets out of a horse like this, who's sort of long-winded. I'm expecting to make a big run late, Pete, and he's the class of the field. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I always think this is one of the tougher type of horses to handicap, because you see everything on the page and you look at the names and you look at the names of the races and you look at the names of the horses and you're like, man, and this one he wasn't embarrassed. I mean, he didn't run great in the Derby, obviously, or in the Risen Star, but he wasn't embarrassing himself in some of these races. And you're like, no, God, against this field, he should just be better. but then I don't know, because it's not like he's had a lot of experience running winning races. It's been a while now, and last time
Yep.
he's only got the one win against Maiden. So you're like, I just have a hard time with this one. And like you said, he's going to take a ton of money, most likely, just because of the names, and they see the Derby and they see the Grade Ones, and I just don't know if he's much better than them or not. It's hard to know until we see him do it. Now he could win by 4, and he's maybe just more talented, and he grew up a little bit. Now we're into his, later into it. Well, he'll be a 4-year-old, but now you're later, you've matured, you've had all that time, and maybe he's just gotten better, but it's just hard to know until you see it.
That's true. Chris, do you know why I'm bringing up the Virginia Derby? Look at the date, March 15th. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I remember. I remember you had some tough luck there, Colonial, that day.
Well, actually, this race was one of my best plays in the. That was the NHC, Pete, and we were the NHC.
Yes.
And I actually had American Promise on one entry, and I had Rendered Judgment on the other entry. I was so against Getaway Car that day for Baffert at 80 cents the dollar. Before I got lucky and was correct. And actually, Chris, I had American Promise on one entry and Rendered Judgment on the other. It was clearly the best race of my NHC situation. So I know I'm bragging a little bit, but anyway, whenever I see that,
I didn't know you had Render Judgment on the other one. I remember.
I did. That makes me feel good.
I remember
Anyway,
you liking that horse, actually, because I remember.
Yeah, remember I thought he was a
on
little
the
bit
show.
interesting.
Yeah. Can I give one quick poo-poo stat for a horse that might be,
Please,
that should be under 2-1, we assume. Kenny McPeak, only 1 for 23, first after a 210 to 270 day layoff in dirt routes. So, we always look to poo-poo a nice 9 to 5, 8 to 5 shot. So
I'm moving him down. Chris, that's music to your ears, right, Chris?
Chris was already tossing him. So
I'm
Chris
tossing it. To me, the Lasix, unless Lasix moves this horse forward, I just think he's just last year or earlier this year, he was just so plotty. And the Colonial Down races, when your best race is at Colonial Downs, you're not going to get any money from me.
I want to mention one horse for 15 second, guys. Move on. Midnight West at 30-1 is fascinating to me. Maybe this horse cannot run anymore, guys. He came out of that race we just watched. That race completely collapsed. The number 9 Midnight West at 30-1. He's got a ton of back numbers that absolutely fit, guys. I mean, just take a look at it. And he's got a lot of speed. There's not a lot of speed in this race. I mean, there's some, but if the 9 can break well and clear, guys, I actually think the 9 has a shot, a very, very, very outside shot to win the damn thing. And if he comes in second and third, guys, at like 25-1 and blows up your exactas and tries, I would not be surprised. The whole key is the first 10 seconds of the race. But if he catches a flyer, he breaks well, and the inside horses, Chris, don't have a lot of intention to go to the lead. And really, if you look at it carefully, there's not a lot of, confirmed early speed here. I've seen worse 30-1s, guys. This horse has got a ton of back numbers.
I actually had him as a B. I was surprised at the 30.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that last race looks really bad against some of these others, but
it definitely looks.
It looks really bad
against main claimer speed.
But he also he looks like one who has to make the lead and didn't.
I agree.
And that was his dad. I mean, maybe he's just one of those types of horses that we've seen them, they don't make the lead, they're garbage. But if he does and gets brave, even if he doesn't win, he can be a try-key kind of horse, someone just to get in the triple and sort of blow things up a little bit.
I don't want to bring up weather 6 days away, but if it rains for some reason, the horse is a big move up.
Yeah, 3 for 4, Chris. I had that note
too.
Yeah.
Actually, didn't look. I know this is going to. When Paul hears this, Pete, he's going to be so upset. I didn't look at the weather in Arkansas this Saturday.
I usually do too, but it's so far out. I was like,
Monday,
I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't know. I was traveling this morning, and I've been long day. All right, guys, let's move on to race 9. Actually, before we do that, very quickly, like I said, Weekend Warriors this Saturday. We've got a great tip sheet. Tip sheet had a good week. Pete had the pick 5 on Saturday on our Power Picks tip sheet. The play of the day, Motorosa, Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Junior came through at 7-2. That helped me out with a pick 5 and a win bet. And then Cabo Spirit yesterday at San Anita was a power pick play at 6-1. So, and the Cornucopian would have won it off the screen, but he decided to fall on his butt in the paddock and led his
There's a
stablemate
nice
win Malibu.
exacta too you had in the, because I did the, so
Yes,
anybody
I
wants
did.
to look, the results of our tip sheet are always on our website. So, and as I was doing those this morning, I was like, oh wow, I think it paid like $38 for $1.
It
The
did.
exactness, so that was nice. My dad had it too. My dad called me. He
Ah,
wished me happy birthday, and he's like, "Yeah, I had that Mike Smith horse," and he couldn't get the name right, of course, because he's 80 and brain doesn't work the same. But and I was like, Cabo Spirit. I was like, Howard had that horse too. So I was like, you're in good
and
company.
he had Stronmer in for second. Good for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
All right. And I had Mondego in for third. I had the try too. Anyway,
Nice.
whatever. No one cares about me. Last thing, guys, really quick. Power Pit tip sheet. I know Chris has been a big supporter, guys, of our podcast, and he belongs to our tip sheet too. Team HHH is our premier membership. The deadline is in 3 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're interested in Team HHH, you can go to our website, find out all about it. It's our premier membership package. It is well worth the money. Highly recommend people look into that. All right, let's go on to race 9, guys. Race 9 starts the stakes. The Commodore overnight, 135,000. Chris Couples has a very interesting opinion in this race. Older males, there's some nice ones here. Field of 11, pretty heavy morning line favorite, Concrete Glory, a very fast 7-year-old who will be 8 when he runs this Saturday for Safi and Louis Size. Let's see where we're going with our picks. Hold on 1 second, guys. There we go. I'm going 3-2-6. Pete's going 1-2-5, and Chris is going 6-7-3. We are all over the map, and we are fading Concrete Glory. In fact, I don't even have this horse in the top 3, and neither does Chris Couples. Wow, this is going to be an interesting conversation. Pete, let's go to you. You have some wonderful thoughts, and sometimes they count. Like thought that counts. David Jacobson, Torres, 10-1. I looked at this horse very carefully. I think he's interesting. What say you?
Yeah, if we looked at the time form, which we haven't done yet, but there's a lot of speed in here, including the favorite, which I'm assuming maybe that's why I have him in third and you guys don't have him anywhere, is he doesn't project to have a very super comfortable lead, and maybe that could be problematic for him. And if that's the case, and if this horse that I like, Thought That Counts, doesn't get sort of shuffled too far back, we're a little ways back in that picture, so I don't know if it'll be that great. But this horse had the cutback last time, didn't really have much pace at all. It was basically moderate pace last time, and still was really closing. And that was the first time going 6 in a while. So I like that cutback to 6. Now we're getting a race where there is going to be pace. And I just think maybe if we get that, and again, like this horse just has to work out a little bit of a trip from the rail and just not sort of get shuffled back to dead last, but has the figures that fit right with the top of this field. So I think it's trip dependent, but I think if we can get that pace up front and the 5 doesn't just get away and take him around the track, then I think this one could be coming late. Just the point of whether he can get to the wire in front and just doesn't close for a piece.
Really nice ride and really good trip. He's in this white silks here coming the outside. Minnesota Ready is a really nice horse right now, and you see.
Yeah, that horse got away. There was nothing. You weren't getting that horse that day. So yeah.
And there's your horse making a late run in for second. So very solid effort. I wouldn't worry about coming back quickly, Pete. David Jacobson does this all the time. So I don't even. He has very interesting training methods. So. The fact he's coming back relatively quick.
I mean,
he ran 95, 88, 92 buyers, Pete. Again, I think the big question is it too short for him, really.
That's what's funny, though, is he runs us all kinds of distances and surfaces, but he's 6 for 6 in the top 2, going 6. So he does have an affinity for it, even though they don't keep him at this distance very often.
Here's a good comp. Here's a good comp, Pete. He's a poor man's Banishing. What do you think?
He is, but I love Banishing. So yes, that would be lovely because
it's just not as talented, but similar to that horse, right?
Yeah, Banishing was a horse that's pretty versatile, could do a little bit of everything, and generally runs his race. I'd love to see it here. We'll get the nice 1 and 6 exacta here. We'll blow this thing up, right, Chris?
Yeah, that would do it.
Chris, explain to everyone, convince everyone why a horse that is not run in what is it going to be? 16 months, or actually more than that. Sorry, 20 months. the number 6 Bourbon Bash at 12-1. Why is he going to win this race, sir?
It's a two-part deal with him on top. One is the rest of the field is obviously me and you don't have Concrete Glory anymore. We don't like him. I just really don't like anybody. Now this horse was a mainstay in the coach's barn, and then had a big break. So obviously something went wrong here. It appears Aspen took his time getting this one ready. He worked this horse back in June, then don't show up on the work tab. But I guarantee this horse was jogging. Worked him back in July. We're jogging. Then we really start getting aggressive with him. His back class he was very consistent. I know there's just a lot to like about this horse besides the layoff. And everybody else in here, there's a couple in here that are nice horses that I'm just frankly done with, that I'm not betting no more. And that's really why I landed on this horse. Was more, I know what his past is, and I know what these are, and there's just not much in here.
Well, not only that, and I've got him third. I know he's 2 for 23, but he's run some fast numbers. And Chris, there's no way that Asmussen would put him in this spot if he didn't think he was right. Not only that, people can say what they want about Joel Rosario. Chris, we know sometimes people crap on him. He's a damn Hall of Fame jockey. That's another reason why I like this horse. I mean, if he put like some local rider who wasn't that talented, or this is going to sound disrespectful, or put, one of his sons on him, I'd say, okay, maybe they just want to put one into him. This feels a lot of intention here, Chris. Like they're not messing around today, which, look, I mean, if you want a guy who can do it off this layoff, I can't think of too many guys better than Steve Asmussen, all-time winning trainer in North America, Chris.
Yeah, his horse's rider, he wouldn't be entered here. And if the horse didn't have talent, Steve would have no problem dropping him in for a tag and getting rid of him.
Totally agree.
He's here for a reason. Rosario should save ground a little bit, tuck in right behind, not get too far back. And until those races in the past, you go back to, I know it was March of 24, but I know that is a very fast race at OAKLAWN. Happy as a Choice is a horse he ran behind. That was a super nice horse for a long time. Horse has a lot of class where everyone else has question marks.
I think it's a great pick. I'm very interested. I'm chalking out guys with Echo again. He's just too sharp right now. He's very classy. He's really sharp. He's going to get pace in front of him. I like Santana. It's not clever. I have nothing clever to say. I just think Echo again is going to be tough here if he runs his best race, but he's no guarantee. That's for sure. We could talk about a lot of other horses, which we're not going to do because we're going to move the show along. But I do want to talk about the number 2, Pete, Second ID. Boy, I was ready to pick this horse on top, but this jockey is 1 for 39 at the meet and is a 13% jockey at lower level tracks. I think at Prairie Meadows. I'd have to check, but I just couldn't do it, Pete. But the 2 is talented.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough one for that reason. You see the trainers 0 for 7 here, the jocks 1 for 39, like you mentioned. But that was a nice race came out of last time. Now maybe that was just one where you can. Speaking of banishing, by the way, ran second in that race that we're looking at. But that was just a nice race, and then lost the Rivet before and the Surveillance. There's just some decent names, even though they're it's at Remington, Prairie Meadows, Lone Star. There's a couple nice names in there, and this one just has a little bit of talent. Just the point of whether we got to see what kind of trip he gets. I think he's pretty tactical, so she'll be up close. So he can definitely get the run on some of those deeper closers, get first run. He should be sitting, maybe pocket to Concrete Glory and some of that other speed. He should probably be right in that second flight, I think.
I agree. Roll on Big Joe would be 1 to 10 in this spot.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, maybe, 2 to 5. Chris, you and I both fading Concrete Glory. Why you? And I'll give my opinion.
And this horse is a nice horse, but he's not that great. I know he rattled off several wins in a row at Gulfstream, and Saffie took a long time for Saffie moved him up into Stakes Company. If he gets loose on the lead, he can get brave, but he's not going to be loose here. And as soon as somebody gets up on him, he's going to fold. And the biggest problem is the reason Saffie kept him out of them Stakes Companies because Lasix is his friend.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, he's going to be 8, Chris. These horses that are older, it's hard for them to hold their form. You know what I mean? I agree with everything you said. If this horse wins, I'm going to be shocked. No, but Man, I agree with you, Chris. This is the kind of horse you're supposed to beat. I mean, yeah, he barely beat Wound Me Up, who came back and I saw in person was awful at Gulfstream. I don't know. I have a lot of questions about this horse, although he's going to be favored and might win, but I'm going to fade him. Last horse, and we'll move on, Chris. Why don't you talk about Banjo, Chris? I mean, Chris Couples has to have his namesake in here. Didn't work out very well with Howard Wallowitz for me, Chris, as he got pimped for second, but no one cares about my sob stories. Banjo Chris is a closer who is not that far off his best races.
No, and if you look at his races this year at home, he tried routing last time. That's not his game. And then at Churchill, September 13th, I know Ben Tornado was in there. Skelly, I want to say Roll on Big Joe was in that race. He got bumped out of the gate. Bad start, took him right out of it. He went to Kentucky Downs, where I didn't think he had any shot, and won on the turf there. The Ellis race is really fast. Vanishing, who we mentioned. Hear My Song's a nice horse. Won at Churchill last time he faced company like this convincingly. And then before that, he was on the synthetic. You basically can wipe out 2025 for this horse. If you look at his 2024 sprint races, he is solid.
I agree. A lot of ways to go in the sprint. Let's go to the feature, guys. The Smarty Jones. There are Kentucky Derby points on the line. This begins the road to the Kentucky Derby in Arkansas. It's a nice $250,000 purse, a mile at 16th, of course, for the 3-year-old boys. You see some familiar names if you're familiar with, some of the up-and-coming horses right now. These are not the top of the top, but they're trying to get there. The Moorline favorite is a Cox and Giroux ridden horse. The number 5 Rancho Santa Fe, coming off an allowance win at Keeneland at 5-2. I'm a little surprised the number 1 Universe was not favored based on his last running line, losing to Further Ado, who's a pretty talented horse. Universe is 3-1. Let's see where we're going in the Smarty Jones. I'm going 1-4-5. Pete's going 3-1-5, and Chris is going 9-1-5. A lot of 1s and 5s with 3 different horses on top. Sleeping on Freedom for Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez. This is the same connections of Render Judgment, but you're not going to render judgment on this runner in the Smarty Jones, Chris, and you're going to get a little bit of price. I'm sure you're hoping for a fast pace.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how this race gets bet. And it was a tough decision because the horse you have on top, I have is faster. But when I look at Sleeping on Freedom, I have works what I watched from this horse before he debuted. I thought he was a 2-turn type. He went out 5 furlongs and nearly won in a race that come back, I believe, over half the field come back and won out of that race. It's been very productive for a 5 furlong 2-year-old race. Also ran well sprinting next time, and again, thought he was a 2-turn type. Set behind a slow pace last time, so you're not going to get a big figure there. Just tipped out, won, didn't do anything wrong, went out, did his job. Biggest thing for me, Brian opted here, got off the 1. So I think this horse has more, and obviously Brian does too.
Interesting. Yeah, and McPeak is, well, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that. I guess I see Rosario, but Hernandez is the go-to guy. So that's a very interesting point. Chris, explain to people what this R means in the form and why he was in quote-unquote lower level maiden races in Kentucky.
Well, the restricted races, I know you can make a case most definitely that they're lower level, but it could be, I'm assuming I haven't looked if that's going to be an auction restricted to RNA, either RNA
Yes.
to sell or sold for less than a such number. And if you have a horse that qualifies for that and you don't run them there, then it's silly not to, because the purses are, right up there with the open maidens. So I don't consider that a knock, especially from a barn like Kenny, who don't go out and buy expensive horses. He goes out, buys horses that he thinks looks good, likes their pedigree decent enough, and he don't care if they cost $5,000 or $300,000. The ones that he thinks can run, them are going to be his main horses.
Exactly. So he was bought for $60 at Keeneland in September. Most of those restricted races are auctioned for $60,000 or less. So fits in perfectly. And they know that when they buy these horses, Pete, that they could be eligible. The purses are a bit lower than the open ones, but I agree with you. I'm using this horse, Chris. I think he's interesting, and the jockey musical chairs there is fascinating. I have to admit, I didn't see that, and that piques my interest certainly. Pete, you're going to go with the number 3, Boca Beach Club. I bet this horse last time. I was slightly disappointed. The leader just got too loose, and you couldn't run him down. Double Down Stables. Jimmy DeVito is a horseman I know very well because he's a Chicago guy. I know Chris is probably familiar. Very, very good trainer. The big question, of course, that I'm sure you'll talk about is the stretch out.
Yeah, I thought the stretch out was okay. I mean, I just looking at the breeding. I mean, it doesn't necessarily scream like, oh, this horse has been waiting for the longer distance or the 2 turns. But I think the stretch out should be fine. And a couple things I liked, like you said, that in that last one, the pace wasn't super fast. And there you go, dirt routes. 14%, so solid. I mean, it's nothing, it's nothing bad. So even on the dam side, there you go. Yeah, you could see
the best runner was a 2-turn horse for best of time.
Yeah.
However, the sire was Drosselmeyer. So
yeah.
Well,
this one's Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach has been pretty versatile. I think that those horses can run long, they can run short. So I'm not too concerned about that. And again, we are only going 1 1/16 now. So in some cases, you're like, well, are they, Derby kind of stretch outs? But no, we don't care about that right now. 1 1/16. I think this one should be okay. And like you said, that horse in the last one just got away and he couldn't get there. But this time it looks like at least there's a projection of a bunch of pace up front. So I'm not too worried about one horse necessarily just sneaking away and getting away clean and just making it a merry-go-round kind of race. So I think if we get that, I like the move to Saez. Santana's been ice cold at this meet. So I like the move to Saez, who's been hot here. Thank you, Felipe.
Thank you, Felipe. That's very nice.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
So I think this one at least could be on the up and up. The buyer went up. The time form went up, second out. So we did see that requisite improvement. That was my little question on the 9 because I really liked Chris's case on the 9. But I would have hoped for maybe, but like he said, that was the way the race shook out. You weren't maybe going to get a figure, but he sort of regressed figure-wise a bit. But I like his case on that 9, maybe to move that horse up. But I think the same thing with the 3. I think there's just some progression there we could see here. And I don't think this is the greatest field. So I think it's pretty wide open.
I don't see Kentucky Derby horses out of here. But look, it's the beginning of the year, Chris. I mean, these horses can progress very quickly. Quick plug from Matt Miller about Weekend Warriors this Saturday. I think we're going to be able to cover a fair number of good races in a pretty short period of time. Should be good discussions on how to approach cash or tourney. We're actually going to show 4 races live, Chris. 1 at Aqueduct and 3 here at OAKLAWN. Actually, this is the last one. This is the end of the contest, the Twin Spires contest, the Smarty Jones. It does not include the last race at OAKLAWN. Thank you. Shout out to Jackson Muniz who pointed that out to me. Guys, I don't have a clever opinion here with the horse on top. I do have a clever with the horse in second, though. Universe is consistent. He gets the rail. He's going to save ground. He gets Rosario. It says that he's going to be up on the lead, Pete, because of his first 3 races. Yeah. Last time he didn't break great and still prove that he can close. I don't think this is like a dead send for Rosario at all. I think he'll set a really comfortable trip, Chris. We've all got him. You guys have him in second. I've got him on top. There's really nothing creative to say. He's
I thought
very
he'd
logical.
be like 9 to 5 morning line. Oddly, when I was looking at it, I was like, this horse is probably gonna be like 9 to 5, 2 to 1 favorite. That surprised me that he was 3.
Okay.
You said that at the beginning, but
yeah,
that surprised me a bit. He lost. He lost to 3, right? 3 sort of Derby. We think Derby contenders: Napoleon Solo, Incredibolt, and Further Ado. I mean, there's no shame in those 3. Those are pretty quality horses there.
I'm going to put us on screen. Most people know by now that I have a future bet on Paladin for the 2026 Kentucky Derby. It just came out today, guys. The new Las Vegas Caesars Sportsbook numbers came out. Paladin is the second choice, guys, right now to win the Kentucky Derby at 10 to 1 with Ted Noffey at 8 to 1. It doesn't really mean much. All it means to me is a lot of people like this horse. That makes me feel good because I got him at 40 to 1. It doesn't mean a damn thing, Chris, unless you can get in the starting gate. But I was able to see Paladin, guys, in person, not training, just in his stall down at Payson. I sent some stuff out at Axe. I saw him on Friday, and he actually worked a very slow maintenance work. His first work down there yesterday, guys. And last tidbit about Paladin, guess where he is? He's in exactly the same stall that Sierra Leone was in. Chad put him in the same stall for, well, I'd say good luck. He's got to finish about 2 feet better, Pete, in the Derby for me.
Just run straight.
Year.
Yeah, run straight. Don't bump into anybody, and we'll see what happens there, right?
Anyway, real quick, guys. Silent Tactic to me, Chris, feels like a Sandman type. I'm not saying he's going to be as talented, but this is a $500,000 son of Tacitus out of a gun runner mare who actually was a turf horse. He's run on synthetic. He looks like he can run all day to me, Chris. I saw a workout at OAKLAWN, and I've seen him run. This is a very talented horse that Cassie, trainer of Sandman, is taking down here to OAKLAWN. I think he wants to see if this horse can handle the surface, but he's worked twice over it. If they go fast up front, I don't know if Silent Tactic can win this race. A mile 16 might be too short for this field, but I got a feeling Silent Tactic is going to come like an absolute train and run a big race Saturday. Do you guys give any consideration to this horse at all?
Okay, Chris.
I did not.
Okay,
I didn't think he was overly turfy in what I watched, but this horse was at Woodbine. And the race, and it was a grade 3 race over the synthetic. Obviously, he tipped out, no excuse really, but he did run on well. But then he was on the AEs December 5th at Turfway and didn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was going to be a prep and they were pointing here. It's hard to know, but that was where they were pointing to first. And I don't know. I've seen a lot of these Cassie runners this year specifically that were turfy horses that ran well at certain tracks for certain conditions and some that didn't. I wouldn't classify this one specifically as a turfy horse. I don't know yet.
Okay.
I have an interesting stat on
Pete,
Cassie. Oh, go ahead, Howard.
I'm sorry.
No,
I just want to, I'm not pushing back on Chris. I just want to mention that his 2 races at Woodbine, guys, they went 50 to the half. So it's not only is it hard to get a big fig, it's hard to close in those fractions too. So I'm not saying Chris is going to be wrong. I just want to mention those 2 things. But go ahead, Pete. We'll talk about Rancho Santa Fe and go to the last race. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I like this one. As I had my note was sort of as an underneath kind of horse at most I assumed would be a price, and we are getting a price. Cassie, he's 0 for 21 going sin to dirt in these in like a listed stakes, non-graded stakes races, but that doesn't mean that the horse can't close and hit the board, and you could still.
Yeah, he's a board horse for me.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to win.
I don't think that should dissuade you too much from that.
No,
especially because I don't think there's like we talked about. I don't think there's like super talent here where they're just going to get away and dominate the race. I think it'll be sort of a wide open affair, and maybe Trip will be. Pretty important. Yeah.
Real quick on Rancho Santa Fe, Pete, and then we'll go to the last race.
I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's under good hands. I mean, Brad Cox, Gary and Mary West. Well, not good hands, Giroux, if maybe Paul was on, but you might not like those hands. No, not me. That was more of a Paul.
I know.
There's some the works have been solid. Again, he showed what we like to see from a young horse, showed an ability to pass and actually win a race. The figures both progressed. Second out, he beat 2 next out winners last out, so he's definitely on the upswing. Again, I just don't know if he's super talented or what.
Oh,
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
Awesome, Chris. What don't you like, Chris?
I almost put the 4 we talked about in the 3rd spot over this horse.
Over this one,
and it's Brad Cox, so obviously he can beat you anytime, anywhere. But you've got to ride this thing from the time the gates open all the way to the wire.
Yeah.
He is a plotty, no trying, fill in whatever blank you want.
Whoa. He's definitely a bicycle horse, Chris. You got to ask him. But, that was a few months ago, Chris. We don't know what he is now, to be very honest, right?
And like you said, and it's Brad Cox. He can do wonders and get one to improve.
For sure. Before we talk about the last race, we've got a great new show called Wire to Wire, which this week is Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen, because the holidays. Live shows Saturday morning, and it covers this bet.
It's the first coast-to-coast Pick 5.
An attractive Pick 5 sequence featuring Gulfstream Park.
And Santa Anita Park. Player-friendly 15% takeout.
A $1 minimum. Big pool.
Huge payout. first Coast to Coast Pick 5 every Saturday and Sunday.
The Coast to Coast Pick 5 paid 20 grand, guys, on opening day Santa Anita yesterday. It was very difficult, but it's a fun $1 base bet. Let's get in the last race at OAKLAWN, and we'll show our best bets and bid adieu for the last show of 2025 here on Picks and Ponies. Allowance race, guys, field of 12. Moyline favorite is the Rail Horse 5-0 Somewhere. Great name for Shire and Sayas at 5-2. Let's see where we're going to go to end the card. I'm going 11-6-1. Pete is also going with the 11-7-6, and Chris going 7-6-1. Again, a lot of similar numbers there. JP raced for you, Chris. This is Ingrid Mason and Vasquez at 9-2.
Yeah, and not a super strong opinion. There's a lot of speed in here, and I wanted to find someone who could come from off of it and pick things up, but there's nobody to find. This horse is a big, does not look like a sprinter. He is big, long-strided horse that has enough speed to be tactical, and he's kind of drawn outside of some of the other speed. I think if the other speed horses stop and he's outside, he can keep going.
Is he a neither lead type, Chris? That was my only negative, in my opinion.
He is. So he's going to either have to be up there really close or outside.
Yeah, he should be outside. I don't mind the Remington for him, by the way. Remington's solid enough track. He could win here. I've got him in sorry, I don't have him in second, but I have him in the mix underneath. Pete, you and I are both going to go with the 11. I had a tough time with this race, Pete. I sort of just defaulted to Stiglitz at 7-2 for D'Amato. I'll tell you what, if you take away the last race, he doesn't blow you away, but it seems like he's getting good now. And that Keelan race impressed me because it was a hot pace. And BU and Multiverse are two very good horses. I saw Multiverse, of course, in person down at Gulfstream. He won the stake there. And BU is a nice horse also. So he's facing good company. He's furthest outside, but he just looks like he's in prime form, although he's 1 for 14. So hard to trust, though, Pete.
Yeah, that was the concern. You know, we don't like the horses that are perpetually lose, even if they run well. Those are tough. But like you said, yeah, he had, you know, you see the lifetime buyer top last out, had a buyer top the prior race before that. The thing that this is one where they don't, maybe they just hadn't figured out for a while what this horse wants to do. They tried routing, then they tried 7, they tried sprinting on turf, they tried routing on turf. And maybe this horse is just, let's stick to one thing for a few races in a row and see if that works. And in the last 2, then maybe, and again, I think the horses that beat him in the last 2 are better than the horses in this race.
Agreed.
So I think if he runs back to that, and the only worry, right, is he was on the lead in the last 2, and there's enough speed inside that he'd have to work hard to get the lead. But he has in the past sat off and passed horses. So hopefully he could do that instead of pushing too hard to try and get on the lead here.
I just like that he's totally changed his style in a good way. And he didn't show this kind of speed, and they figured him out clearly. Vital Mind is also very logical. Rosaro's got a lot of live mounts, guys, on Saturday at OAKLAWN. It's be interesting to see. This is for Steve Asmussen, so this horse can obviously win, cost $600,000, China Horse Club, blah, blah, blah. And then, Chris, the favorite is the Rail Horse, the one that we all seem to dislike, at least. I've got him third, but Pete has a nowhere. You have him third. I just think there's a lot of speed in this race. I'm not sure I love the Rail in that situation.
Exactly. And if this horse was drawn in the 5 or 6, hole, he would probably be on top for me, but he's going to have a lot of problems from inside there. And he's never showed the ability to stay on if he gets headed.
And he steps up in class. So this is really an interesting sequence, guys. There's a lot of horses that are going to be favored that we can fade. And then there's some horses like the 5. Chris, I might just single the 5 in the first leg of my pick 5, Nikolai. If he loses, I'll just play the pick 4. I hate to, sometimes that's not the worst thing to do, right? I mean, if you feel that way about the first leg.
I agree. And I like that even more when we have a horse like that you like strong in the first leg, because the general public tends to spread in the first leg because they don't want to be out. I don't really care when I get put out. I want to play the strongest opinions in the strongest spots and cash tickets.
Yeah, it's such great advice, Chris. I hope everyone heard that clearly. Pete, your best bets. Here we go. Race 7, you're going to double 5-11 with 6, and race 9 and win bet on the 1.
Yeah, this was pre-odds too, so I hate doing that with the best bets. But I like the Super Cruise. So again, we could be beating what we hope is a pretty solid favorite in Render Judgment on the back end, and I'm just going with the 2 horses that I like. And then yeah, in the 9th there, I was going to go with a price that thought that counts at 10-1. See if we can heat the pace up, and that horse can close for a win.
No, I like it, and look at our clocker reports and go to drf.com for great information for Sandy and Gulfstream, especially. Chris, you're going to make this as simple as possible, my friend. Race 8, a win bet on the 6.
Yeah, the simple as possible has been the key for me lately. Contest play, if I try to get cute, something goes wrong. I just want to play win bets. And that's going to be my strongest. And I'm sure in cash, I'll probably play the same double with the Arkansas bred horse, but I'm not doing it in the contest. It just seems in the contest it don't work out.
Yeah, I hear you. Good luck with that win bet. I think that horse got a big shot. I'm going to do something I've not done in this show in a long time, guys, and that is give some underneath horses. So in race 10, the 4 is the horse that Chris does not love. This is the Woodbine horse in the Smarty Jones that I think is actually interesting, and so does Pete. Again, mainly underneath. I have placed in show on there, everyone, but I'd play underneath in all your exacts and your exactas, trifectas. The number 4 in the Smarty Jones Stakes coming from Woodbine, I think is interesting. And then take a look at the last race, the number 9, who is a huge, pretty big price. Actually, I don't know the morning line. Let me get it really quick here. The 9 is mapped to the stars, 12-1. Armando Hernandez, guys, the trainer. How about this? In the last 69 times, guys, 69 times that he's claimed a horse, 33% on the win end, 62% in the money. This guy moves up horses. Armando Hernandez, the trainer of the number 9 in the last race, map to the stars. I'd use that horse underneath, guys, in a pretty difficult race. Final thoughts, either one of you want to wish our wonderful viewers and fans a happy new year. Pete, you can go really first. Your closing thoughts of 2025, my friend.
Yeah, no, happy. It's been a great year for the podcast. It's been a great year with all of our fantastic listeners and viewers, and we love them all, and we love that they're such a big part of the show. So happy new year to them. And I just want to say, Howard, for, hopefully when they, one day when we get old and we die and they write our obituary, they could say something like they said for Barnes when he went into stud today. He had a lot of bullet workouts in his day. So that's all we can ask for. So that's not much of a rant, but it's more of the horse racing thing that struck me the most today was like, I was trying to think of a good analogy for that, but it's like, man, hey, this horse had a lot of bullet workouts in his day.
What a weird career. And you know what, Chris, I think I read or heard the stud fee is only $15,000, which for a horse that had that kind of talent, but he was ouchie, and I'm fascinated to see how his babies run, but very interesting career for Barnes. Chris, final thoughts of 2025. We really appreciate you joining us tonight, subbing in for Paul. You did yeoman's work as usual.
Well, and glad to be here. Honored to be here. I follow along with the HH family pretty sharply. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, wonderful New Year coming up, and be selective. You don't have to bet every race.
There you go. I like that. And Chris, good luck with your medical procedure tomorrow. So
yes, I haven't eaten now in almost 24 hours. I am very hangry.
Okay, well, we'll let you go. And if you know anything about medical procedures, you can take a guess on what he's happening with him. I had my first joy of that this past summer, Pete. So
straight to the buffet right afterwards, right, Chris?
Yes.
There you go, guys. Thanks for joining the show. Everyone really appreciate watching. We've got shows tomorrow, including the leaderboard on Tuesday, and then we're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the new year, and we have Weekend Warriors and Picks and Ponies. Sorry. Weekend Warriors and Wire to Wire on Saturday. So check YouTube. For Pete Visco and Chris Couples, this has been your proud host, Howard Kravitz, our last show of 2025. We hope you enjoyed our shows. We got a lot of great stuff coming for 2026 here on Picks and Ponies. Crush your bets at OAKLAWN Park for Smarty Jones Day this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Savage. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.